and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q4 FY21 conference call of Secure Cloud Technologies Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Anuj Sonpal from Valorem Advisors. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Sonpal.
Thank you, Janice. Good day, everyone, and a warm welcome to you all. My name is Anuj Sonpal from Valorem Advisors. On behalf of Secure Cloud Technologies Limited, I would like to thank you all for participating in the company's earnings conference call for the fourth quarter and financial year ended 2021. Before we begin, I'd like to mention a short cautionary statement. Some of the statements made in today's earnings conference call may be forward-looking in nature. Such forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties which could cause actual results to differ from those anticipated. Such statements are based on management's beliefs as well as assumptions made by and information currently available to management. Audiences are cautioned not to place any undue reliance on these forward-looking statements in making any investment decisions. The purpose of today's earnings conference call is purely to educate and bring awareness about the company's fundamental business and financial quarter under review. Let me now introduce you to the management participating with us in today's earnings call. We have with us Mr. Suresh Venkatachari, Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Ravichandran S., Whole-Time Director, Mr. Tyagarajan, Chief Financial Officer. Now, without any further delay, I request Mr. Suresh Venkatachari to give his opening remarks. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anuj. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this session. I trust you and your families are well and safe. FY21 has been a year of transformation for us. As you are aware, early in the year we undertook certain strategic initiatives like building a long-term recurring revenues, developing our platforms, investment in R&D, sales and marketing, consistent and profitable growth, etc. We have met most of the objectives during the year, and we will continue to focus on the coming year. Q4 was a weak quarter due to the impact of second wave of pandemic in US. However, I'm happy to say that even though the operations impacted, we have taken a good care of our employees with a prompt transition to work from home culture and have provided all necessary setup to them for smooth functioning. I'm extremely proud of our employees and their enormous commitment demonstrated during the past year. We witnessed delays in closing large deals which impacted our revenue from new customers. Subsequently, we have closed some of the deals in the Q1 and aim to close more deals in Q2. We continue to gain wallet share in our existing large account, and I'm grateful for the trust our clients have in Secure Cloud. Our growth in the accounts have been broad-based with several of our customers showing year-on-year growth stemming from our market-leading capabilities in cloud, security, and managed services. This is what differentiates us from our competition and allows us to be the most trusted partner in our customer cloud transformation journey. As a result of the pandemic imposing travel restrictions, we continue to see a strong demand from our existing clients to offshore more work this year and in coming years. Thus, it is critical to have a geographically diverse team to be able to perform work more quickly and cost effectively. As you are aware, we are focused on advancing innovative industry transformation solution in the sector of cloud services, data science, and professional and managed services, and especially for our healthcare and life sciences industry. Our approach leverages our proprietary technology platform, extensive industry knowledge, and healthcare domain expertise to provide solutions and services that reinforce healthcare progress. Through our platform and services and solutions, we support healthcare delivery organization, healthcare insurance companies, pharmaceutical and life sciences, biotech companies, and medical device manufacturers in their effort to improve the data management, develop analytical insights into their operation, and deliver measurable clinical, financial, and operational improvements. We also cater to other industries like in BFSI, automotive, media and entertainment, and IT sector. We continue to leverage our platform for those sectors too. We believe our principal competitive factor in our market is our technology capability, domain expertise, and on-demand customer support for companies to realize the benefit of modern cloud data and security architecture. We are happy to announce that the Healthcare Triangle Inc., subsidiary of your company, has filed a confidential S1 for listing in the US in a Nasdaq stock exchange. We also raised a 4.25 million through convertible note offering, which will subsequently convert into the equity during listing. The estimated time frame for a typical listing process would approximately anywhere between 90 to 150 days from now. And further, we can't disclose anything specific to Healthcare Triangle IPO at this stage, as we are bound by SEC. We will make announcement at that appropriate time. With that, let me thank you and pass it on to Ravi for a business update.
Thank you, Suresh, and good afternoon to all the participants, and welcome on board on this analyst earnings call. As part of our strategy, we have made significant investment in increasing S&M, which is sales and marketing, both in the US and in India. Idea being all the front-end customer-facing sales roles will be located in the US, and all the back-end work in terms of supporting the marketing, digital marketing, and the pre-sale and inside sales support and all that will be run out of India. And we have close to about 51 people now in S&M, sales and marketing, so which is a significant increase from 33. So we, kind of included about 18 people, and the last quarter alone saw something like 12 people increasing. So that shows the commitment in terms of wanting to get, new customer acquisition. That's one of the priority strategies that has been listed. And towards that, I'm happy to say that we kind of signed 4 new customers. And, being in the industry, I'm sure you all know that the biggest challenge anybody will face in the market is to acquire new customers. And once we acquire the new customers, of course, obviously the revenue will keep going up over years. So I'm happy to say that, we acquired 4 new customers in the last quarter, and one of them for our flagship Readable.ai product, which we talked about even in the last call. So ideally, this positions in 2 ways. One,
Excuse me, speaker. We are unable to hear you, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
What happened?
Sir, just give me a minute. We've just lost the line for the management.
All the management?
Sir, Mr. Ravi.
No, I am here. I am here, but Ravi's line was disconnected.
Trying to reconnect. Allow me
Okay.
a minute. Requesting participants to please stay online. We are just trying to reconnect the management back to the conference. Requesting all the participants to please stay online. We are just trying to reconnect the management back to the conference. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for patiently holding the line. We have the management reconnected. Over to you all, sir.
Hello?
So yes, you may please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. My apologies. It looks like there is a technical glitch and I lost you guys. So I was talking about the new acquisition of customers and how the platform and the platform-based services is helping us to get new logos as well as making those new logos on a recurring revenue base. Correct? And 4 new customers joined. One of them were acquired last quarter, and one of them is on our flagship Readable.ai product. So, and our other flagship product like Cloud EC and Data EC are now available on Marketplace. That basically enhances our marketing reach. When AWS Marketplace has these 2 major platforms from us, customers have access to download and run. So that is going to give us additional opportunities coming our way. And all our existing customers have signed the annual renewal contract without even one of them, holding it. So that shows commitment and their demonstration of trust in us, so which is a very good thing for us. And also some of them have decided that they will work with us a little bit longer. So we have some of them signing up for a multi-year contract. So our recurring revenue base, as Tyaga will explain, will be going up. So with that, I also see a strong pipeline of opportunities in the coming quarters, and Tyaga will talk about it in terms of the revenue numbers, if at all. And our partnership with the current partners, AWS, Google, and Azure is getting to be more and more deeper, and there are opportunities that are being identified, and there are seminars and webinars that are being organized jointly to showcase customer studies. So in all, I think we have done very well given the the objective that we set ourselves in the beginning of the year. And with that, I will hand over to Tyaga.
Thank you, Ravi. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the Q4 earnings call. First of all, I'm happy to inform that we have completed the statutory audit for FY21 without any qualifications. This is a significant and continued improvement, reiterating our commitment to strengthening controls and governance. We began FY21 with focus on operational agility, consistent and profitable growth, cash management. I'm happy to say that we've maintained razor-sharp focus on each one of these areas throughout the year. For financial year FY21, we closed revenues with 350 crores, which was 8% lower than FY20. The revenue was lower mainly due to slowdown in the healthcare business. Our overall healthcare revenues for FY21 was lower by close to 40 crores. We continue to focus on building long-term recurring revenues. Our recurring revenues for the year came in close to 35%. Gross margins have improved considerably, reiterating our focus on quality revenue. Gross margins for the year were at 34.2% compared to 20% for FY20. We reported operating EBITDA of 33 crores, 9.4% of revenue. The improvement in operating margins were mainly due to a combination of factors comprising of strategic cost levers, cost deferrals, and some cost benefits. Some of these costs are expected to normalize in H2 FY22, especially if travel gets back on track and some of the marketing spends we start incurring. We may see some cost increase in FY22 H2. However, we'll continue to do the work on managing the cost levers, managing the on-site offshore delivery mix, pyramid, automation, etc. We are confident that all the steps that we've put in place in the current year will, with additional focus on growing platform revenues and recurring revenues, will improve our operating margins in the coming quarters. During the financial year, the shareholders approved the allotment of 45 lakh warrants to Mr. Suresh Venkatachari, promoter and CEO, at rupees 100. I would like to confirm that 25% of the total value of the warrants, 11.25 crores, has been received by the company. In addition, we raised $4.25 million, totaling to about 31 crores in INR, as convertible instruments in Healthcare Triangle in Q4 FY21. As far as the cash position is concerned, on a consolidated basis, we ended the year with cash balance of 35 crores. We continue to focus on reducing the overall debt position of the company. The net debt position of the company has come down from 110 to 105 crores in FY21. The 105 crores also includes the loan debt of 31 crores, which will eventually get converted to equity. Lastly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the investors and shareholders for their continued trust in the company during these unforeseen times. In terms of our order backlog, we have closed the year with 300 crores of order backlog. It continues to be very strong, and we expect the momentum to continue in healthcare and life science in the coming year. We have built a base for revenue growth, and the guidance on top line is going to be in the range of 12 to 14% for FY22. With that, we would like to open the call to the participants for Q&A. Over to you, Anuj.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handset while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Amit Agarwal from Leeway Infotech. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You can.
Good afternoon, Amit.
Good afternoon, Mr. Suresh, and for the board members. I hope you're keeping well in this COVID time.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, my first question is on headcount. What is the expectation of the headcount after the in the financial year, like March 22? What is the percentage of the contractors and full-time workers right now?
Sorry, what was the question, Amit? Sorry, can you repeat it again?
What is the projection for the headcount after this financial year, at the end of this financial year?
Okay, so projection for the headcount, we entered FY21 at 552. We added 60 headcount in the current year, Amit. So we expect the headcount to be in the range of 625 to 650 next year.
625, you mean to say. And what is the breakup of contractors and full-time workers?
Majority of them will be full-time employees, and most of the hiring will happen in India, Amit. Because as Suresh articulated, the sales and marketing hires, we've ramped up the headcount both in US and India. And you can see it from the investor presentation, we've added nearly 12 sales and marketing folks in Q4. So majority of the investments in S&M is done as of now. Most of the additions will happen in the delivery side, with a focus on, adding more India-based headcount, Amit.
Just to add to what Tyaga said, this is Ravi. In Q4, we added about 30 people from a delivery perspective in India, and we have seen a similar growth consistently over the last 3 quarters. So we believe that the number that Tyaga had said in terms of 625 to 650 is something that we currently have visibility to, and it might even go up given some of the backlog that we are working on.
And the billing of from the Indian operations will be done in Indian operations or in the healthcare triangle?
The customer contracts, Amit, are with Healthcare Triangle. The folks that work on HTA projects in India will be done at cost plus margins, Amit. So typically, that's how it is done, right? Transfer price from an India perspective. But the client contracts are all with Healthcare Triangle in US, Amit.
But does any profit come to the parent company? I mean to say, like.
Yes, Amit. There are. The plan is for the FY22 is actually to add business directly in Secure Cloud India also, direct customer. Actually, in fact, we are signing even recently we signed one managed services contract from the US directly in India. We continue to add business in India also.
Okay. And my second question is regarding Readable.ai. You said you got one client. So what turnover can we expect from this one client per annum? And
Sorry, what?
In this year?
So Readable.ai, we have currently approximately around 6 customers are in the pipeline right now. Okay, with the hospitals, what we do. So it's a good pipeline is coming in. The first customer is fully validated, went live actually very recently, a week back. So with this, I think we would be able to capture the momentum.
So how much turnover can we expect from one customer on average basis?
So it's basically a volume, transaction-based volume, Amit. So basically what happens is Readable.ai is a document workflow management system, like a patient's record, right? Even still people are sending by faxes today. So what we did is we built with the Google AI Analytics capability to automate that. So it will reduce the manpower need and automate. So it depends on the volume of each customer, right? So we estimate like a small hospital could generate average around between $300,000 to $500,000 per year, whereas a medium-sized to large customer can even go in a million or multi-million-dollar opportunities. Depend on the how many number of volume of data coming in. We are in the very early stage, Amit. We would be able to probably give a better guidance in the next 2 quarters as more number of customer use cases is built.
That's correct. And adding to what Suresh just said, unlike the other traditional document management workflow system, this is completely built on AI and machine language. So the more you use it, better the accuracy gets. So as you keep going up in terms of the usage, the accuracy will even touch 95, 97, 98, 99. So it's almost imperative that some of these things that we are talking about will benefit significantly. We are also talking in terms of whether we can do these in vernacular, so that whether such things can be deployed even in India.
Are we the only product in the market, or there are similar products in the market? Like we are competing with somebody for this?
So let me explain to you. There is so many document management, there is so many content management systems exist in the market. This is an add-on plug-in to that actually. So it's a very unique product right now. See, because everybody is doing a manual processing, right? Even how do they handle today is by manually somebody scan and then somebody do a OCR reading and everything. What we have built is a completely AI-based model. So we are currently seeing somewhere accuracy of around between 90-95% right now. If we are able to reach to 97-98%, it will be definitely a huge hit. They can eliminate a lot of people. See, what happened is it automatically take your medical record and then find and map the record with your electronic health record system and put it actually. So it saves significant cost for the hospitals. So a lot of hospitals are very excited about this product opportunity right now. So everybody is waiting for the first success, and we just went live. So as we see the efficiency of the things going higher, it will be a significant improvement.
And what is the market size? Are you targeting?
So the market size, So no, I will tell you the market size for specifically this product we have. So this market size is actually today it is about a $555 million medical document management. Okay, by 2025, and current market size is about $292 million. So this solves actually a patient interoperability, data interoperability issue.
And how are data is at cloud, and are they complementing each other, or they're totally different products? Plus,
no, it is all the same. See, Cloud Easy is our fundamental infrastructure product. On top of that, Data Easy sits, which is for the data lake management on the public cloud. And the Readable.ai also use the same cloud and the security, our security framework. But it builds a lot of analytics. So the good thing is right now, as Ravi said, we are now started to offer as a SaaS model now, moving away from one-time projects, right? So currently Cloud Easy and Data Easy also going on AWS Marketplace, and soon it will be available in Google Marketplace. And Readable.ai will be in the Google Marketplace. We will expand that into other marketplaces also. So everything will be more driven through a marketplace market. If you really look at the Data Easy has a huge potential. It's a $40 billion global healthcare analytics itself, right? In the data management strategy, according to Bloomberg business, and we have a significant opportunity to play in the Data Easy. Data Easy is now currently deployed as a platform solution in 2 very large pharma, and also is now we are positioning that in the hospital as well as a mid-sized pharma as a SaaS service.
Right.
And what about the blockchain platform? Is that doing well, or is stuck in very initial stages?
No. This is currently in the piloting in few places. We will be able to become an official press release very soon. You'll be seeing a press release on it, on blockage.
And you said we lost 40 crore because of the hospital business. Did we say that this can come back in this financial year?
No, your voice is breaking, Amit. Maybe you keep this as the last question. Just can you repeat again, please?
You said we lost 40 crore business because of the hospital chain. Do we expect that hospital business to come back in the financial year?
Yes, sir. We already started witnessing a growth in the Q1 FY22. Already we are growing, and we would expect by this year to back to our 2019 level of healthcare business, hopefully.
And just one more question. All these projects, Cloud EZ and Data EZ, were part of our Secure Cloud company. So I'm surprised that these products have been launched under the healthcare triangle. That is the reason when we spin off healthcare triangle is owned by Secure Cloud only. Cloud EZ and Data EZ for healthcare is owned by Healthcare Triangle. The same Cloud EZ and Data EZ, which is another brand which will go for a non-healthcare background as a separate product branding name. So are we targeting the other sectors also? Secure Cloud?
Secure Cloud is focusing currently. We have in the entertainment sector, we have large clients. We have in the manufacturing, in the automation, in the automotive industries we have. So we are helping with the managed services, everything driven out of our cloud platforms only.
Because I'm scared that Secure Cloud with all that management attention go to healthcare sector, and slowly the rest of the business will become dead, because I've been seeing all the Twitter updates of Healthcare Triangle. But in the last 100 days, there's no update on Secure Cloud company. So I'm surprised that all the management focus is not to Healthcare Triangle.
No, it is not actually. So there are announcements which will be happening on both companies. At the end of the day, Healthcare Triangle is 85% is owned by Secure Cloud only. It is a Secure Cloud company only. Current focus is to build the Healthcare Triangle to grow, because the healthcare market is a very significant market, and we want to be a top 10 healthcare IT company in the next 5 years. So that is a lot of emphasis is going on. At the same time, we are investing. We have hired in the last 2 quarters actually a chief delivery officer who comes from one of the large BFSI sector for more than 25 years or 30 years of experience to build the BFSI practice inside. And also the blockchain is again looking at a more of automotive market and the pharma market and other markets. So we are really looking at to expand other markets. So our split of revenues, if you really look at it in the presentation what we sent, you will see the split of our revenues not only in the healthcare, it is also in the non-healthcare industry. Segment-wise, we have provided you a report. Even the recurring revenue of a non-healthcare is around 31% right now. So it is growing. So you will able to see that growth, and we will make a actually so that in the appropriate time you'll be able to see the progress. With that, I want to give the other opportunity to other people because I don't want to just hold the line.
Thank you. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, reminder to the participants, please limit your question to 2 per participants only. You may rejoin the queue if you have a follow-up. The next question is from the line of Ankit Dogra from Centrum Broking. Please.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon to the board. I have a question for Mr. Tyagarajan. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Ankit, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Tyagarajan. So I just wanted to ask you. Now we have been seeing steady increase in the recurring revenue. Now stands at around 35%, which is a very good sign. But when will we see a corresponding increase in the EBITDA margins?
Okay, good question, Ankit. See, 2 things. One, if you look at it, our recurring revenues over the last 5 quarters have inched up from 30% to 35%, right? Initially in the beginning of the year, we made some strategic decisions to move away from high risk. We didn't want to do the volume business. We wanted to focus on quality, right? Recurring revenue and long-term revenue. So that shift has happened. And as we speak, we are also moving away from some of these non-core revenue streams and focusing on healthcare and BFSI, right? So the aim is over the next 4 to 6 quarters, we will move from 35% recurring revenues to about 48-50%, and we will our EBITDA margins currently around little less than 10% will slowly inch up to about 17-18% over the next 4 to 6 quarters, Ankit. I mean, it will be on account of two things. One, with more recurring revenues and long-term contracts, our selling cost will come down. That's one. Second is, as we move into more platform, our delivery cost, the gross margins on platform are typically in the range of 70%, right? So that is going to be a significant game changer for us over the next 2 years, Ankit. Right, so that's going to be the significant, the incremental EBITDA margin is going to come largely from one recurring revenue and more of platform-based SaaS revenue, Ankit.
Correct. So I presume that the costs for platform, most of the capex is done, and mostly it will be maintenance capex going forward. If I'm correct.
So you're right. There is, we want to clarify that we don't capitalize any capex. It is all in the P&L as R&D. Right, so unlike the past when we used to capitalize, nearly 6 to 7% of the, or maybe 7.5% of the revenue sitting in the P&L as R&D, right? So you're right. We've kind of peaked the investments on R&D, which is the platform-related capex, and over a period of time, the value and the percentage will go down as the revenue and focus on additional platform customers go.
Am I right in assuming that coming 4 quarters, there will be the rate of revenue increase will be more than rate of expenditure increase?
Definitely, yes. So, as of now, we've not started sharing the platform contribution and platform margins, but, over the next 3 to 4 quarters, our aim is to, one, start focusing on that, get the finance and reporting system streamlined to start reporting that, right? Yes, the rate of growth in the platform will be disproportionate and will be significantly higher than the normal, IT business, Ankit.
Yeah. Sir, one more question regarding the debt part. If you see the cash flow statement, so the debt shows as you have raised around 34 crores as debt and for the year, and 34 crore borrowing for the year, and also the cash balance you have shown as 34 crores. So the cash balance signifies what the debt you have raised, or because there is no operating cash flow which you have generated. So am I right that cash flow which you have shown as 34 crore is the debt what you have raised? It's not anything else.
You're absolutely right. So you can mathematically it is right, because we also done a lot of investments towards the IPO, which is sitting in prepaid, right, which is a pre-IPO cost that has already been incurred. So that's towards the HTI IPO filing, etc. I mentioned earlier that we raised close to $4.25 million, about 31 crores. That's the money that has come in as fundraise, Amit. And yes, the operation cash flow has been negative this year. Our focus will be to, as I said, right, all the investments towards platform is already sunk into the P&L, right? That will start paying us cash over the next 4 to 6 quarters. And then, we believe that a large chunk of the EBITDA will turn into cash in the next 4 quarters, Ankit.
Okay. So can I have one question with Mr. Suresh? Can I just ask one question? Mr. Suresh, good afternoon. Sir, can you give us some guidance on the revenue for next 1 year or 2 years, revenue guidance, revenue growth guidance?
So if you see, Tyaga was mentioned earlier also, it is like we are looking around somewhere around 12 to 14% minimum growth for FY22. And as our next steps, if you really look at it, our IPO in Healthcare Triangle and raising the capital, which will also enhance our growth rate, accelerate our growth rate. We project to be like in the next 5 years, we want to be a leader in the healthcare sector actually for Healthcare Triangle, and also the secure cloud business it will grow. So we have, I think, settled our dust in the past, so we are anticipating to continue to grow significantly. Again, the growth rate, we will look at more on a SaaS recurring revenue model. Our plan is in the next 5 years to grow at least 65% of our revenue comes from the recurring revenue model. So that will stabilize our valuation much better and also improve the EBITDA margin significantly.
Okay. Sir, and last question. Sir, what is the total contract value stands at right now?
Yeah, we have a backlog of 300 crores right now.
Yeah, 300 crores.
Okay. Sir, and the duration of new contract signed is approximately how much? Is it a short-term contract or multi-year contract, which like Mr. Ravi said in the beginning?
See, typically we are moving away from a short-term to a long-term contract. So that is the reason a lot of shift is happening. See, like a Readable.ai and other things like our Cloud DR backup, all are multi-year contracts are getting signed. The Cloud EC and other things, solutions, support contracts are yearly contracts which are renewable. And most of the contracts with the same customer we are growing, right? Like Ravi mentioned that our key customers, every contract we renew. Based on the history, most of the customers are growing, and we are also de-risking by adding new customers. So our majority concentration of a single customer risk we are trying to avoid over a period of a time. It's not going to be immediate, but it's going to be over a period of time. Our top 10, top 20 customer concentration will be significantly lower, so that we are de-risk ourselves. We witnessed some slowdown in the last quarter. Otherwise, because of the COVID closing time, actually now the US market is pretty open. We are seeing deals closing in the Q1 and Q2 and Q3. We estimate to close more number of orders where we are already either a shortlisted or chosen as a top 2 or top 3 vendor. So those things will improve our revenue goals, the new customers also.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sir, if there is any other question, I'll come back later. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vijay, individual investor. Please go ahead. Vijay, your line is unmuted. Please go ahead with your question. As there's no response from the current participant, we take the next question from the line of Jaideep Sampat, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Mr. Jaideep.
Yeah. So I missed the part about the Nasdaq listing that was said earlier. Can you please repeat that?
Nasdaq listing? Okay. So we have filed a confidential S1. Okay. It is called confidential filing. It is not a public filing. It is a confidential filing for SEC. So we anticipate the healthcare triangle to be similar companies, right? When they file from the confidential S1 to the listing, it's in anywhere between 4 months to 6 months max. So we estimate within the time frame we will be listing ourselves in Nasdaq. We as we said in the previous quarter meeting and update, we already appointed investment bankers and appointed SEC lawyer, and we filed also. This quarter we filed the SEC S1. So we anticipate with the reviews and comments, we will be able to list it in Nasdaq in the next typical time frame of like a 120 to 150 days time frame. We are not able to give anything more specific at this time because we are bound by SEC. So we can't disclose anything specific at this stage as we are in a confidential filing. Once this becomes a public filing, we will disclose appropriate to the exchange also, where people can also see the information in even SEC site.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Vijay, individual investor. Please go ahead. Vijay, your line is unmuted. If you have self-muted your line, please unmute and you may go ahead with your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Now we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, I think my name is wrong, captured wrongly. I'm Srikanth.
His voice is low. Mr. Vijay, you're not audible, sir.
Handset mode while speaking.
Yeah, actually, I am Srikanth, not Uday. I think the name is captured wrong.
Okay, your name is Srikanth, is it?
Yeah, Srikanth.
Srikanth, his name is Srikanth. Okay.
Yeah. So when you are thinking of Nasdaq listing, what is the percentage of dilution you are aiming in STI?
So we do not know exactly the percentage. So because that will be done based on the pricing and various factors when the approval time comes. So we would able to we do not have such information now, and we cannot able to disclose also because the pricing has not been done. So when the appropriate time we will disclose. We got the shareholder permission to either sell majority or a minority stake. So our interest to sell minority stake at this stage to raise capital based on the valuation.
Oh, okay. So recently you have announced that HCI has launched Cloud Easy and Data Easy platforms, right? So before these products are part of Secure Cloud USA, so is there a movement of product from Secure Cloud to Healthcare Triangle?
Yeah. So yes, we shifted the IP from Secure Cloud to Healthcare Triangle. Yes, as part of the spin-off. So we did. But however, Cloud Easy and Data Easy portion for non-healthcare sector will still remain the property of Secure Cloud, and we are looking to sell that into different markets like a BFSI and other markets.
Oh, okay. But what is the rationale behind? Because as we shareholders of Secure Cloud India, the percentage of we hold in Secure Cloud USA is more compared to the Healthcare Triangle, being a step-down subsidiary. So when there is a movement of some
so far the software for Cloud Easy and Data Easy was only sold to Healthcare Triangle customers. Okay, before healthcare customer only. It was not sold to other customers. Now only we are taking the product to other customers. Because the IP, if you see the IP, which is actually delivered to only specific, we built a lot of things we built for healthcare sector, which is like a GXP compliance, HIPAA compliance, and other things. So those are the modules which is built.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I think that's it from my side.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, if you wish to ask a question, please press star then 1 on your touchtone telephone. Reminder to the participants, if you have a question, please press star then 1. The next question is from the line of Ankit Dogra from Centrum Broking. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me a chance again. Sir, my question is regarding the regarding the borrowing profile, regarding the debt of the company. Sir, I presume that we will be raising X amount of money from the HTI, listing in the US. So what will be the proceeds used for? As in, will it be used to pay off the debt, or will it be used for further growth, or what will the debt profile look like post listing? Consolidate.
So okay, post. Yeah, I want to first answer, and Tyaga, you can add it further, Tyaga. So first step is right when the HTI goes public, the 31 crores of the convertible debt, right, which will go away from the balance sheet because that will convert into equity. The HTI raising the capital is for the growth and the working capital for the company. So which will also help us the US credit line to be not used, right? We have about a $5 million, about a 35 crores. When we have a cash, we don't need to borrow the money. It's a working capital line actually, right? You can pay off, but still the line is available for you. So with this, if you really look at it, out of the 110 crore, from 110 to now 105 crores, out of the 105 crores, approximately about 60 to 70 crores will go away from this itself, the debt. Am I correct, Tyaga? If you want to add, you can.
Yeah, absolutely right. Ankit, just to add to the point Suresh mentioned, see, in the debt schedule, 56 crores of debt is actually loans from bank. Both are working capital loans, one in US, about 36 crores, and 20 crores in India, right? And 31 crores is convertible. So the moment we get listed, the convertible go into equity. So the net debt will look like it is 75 instead of the 105, right? That's point number one. Point number two is, we will raise sufficient capital in HTA for further growth. But yet, you will also see Secure Cloud India, because we have already started signing direct deals from Secure Cloud India, right? So that will contribute to revenues and profitability in India as well, right? So eventually what will happen is our own, aspiration as a management is over the next 12 to 18 months, we will become debt-free completely, right? And we are also conscious that, there is nearly, $1.7, $1.8 million of interest costs that are sitting in the P&L, right? We want to, kind of take that as one action item and, reduce that over the next 4 to 6 quarters, Ankit.
Okay. So actually, sir, if I see the presentation, which I can see is that 140 crore is the gross debt. Okay, convertible note will get converted to equity, so it becomes around 100 crores. Correct? So approximately 100 crores. So out of which you're saying that you will further pay the working capital line in the US. So that will another reduce by 30 crores, so 70 crores. Okay, understood.
Yeah, I mean, it may even be much lower, Ankit, for the time being, you can take that number. But our aspiration is, we want to be, there will be sufficient cash. As the previous question that you asked on platform, the moment we start throwing more cash from platform revenue, that will go and offset some of the, borrowing costs that are showing up in the P&L today.
Okay. Got it. And I had one more question. So what is the attrition rate at the moment for employees?
17%.
17.
17.
Okay. And so breakup of employee cost between the offshore and on-site out of 50 crores approximately.
Sorry?
Out of 45 to 47 crore, 48, approximately 50 crore the employee cost, of which, sir, can you give us some breakup in terms of on-site is how much and offshore is how much?
No, you spoke about 48 crores as the overall consolidated cost, right? Quarterly cost is about little less than $1 million in India, boss. Ankit, right? Quarterly.
So around 10 crores, 7.5 crores quarter.
7 crores, approximately 7 crores. That's quarterly in India. Right?
Okay, 7 crores. So about 40 crores will be the US cost.
Yeah, slightly more than $5 million is the US cost.
Okay, and post-listing, Secure Cloud India will hold about 55%, which we discussed in the last call, correct? In the INC.
Yeah. So no, see, INC shares is not we are selling, right? We are only selling the secure healthcare triangle.
Correct. So that is kept on subsidiary, correct? So effectively, India will hold approximately. Yeah. Sorry, sir.
So yeah. So it will be 63. It will still be 65% will be owning from India Secure Cloud Inc. But depend on the dilution. See, we do not know. We cannot say any pricing, Ankit. We don't know the pricing yet. So depend on the valuation which we get of a healthcare triangle, raising the capital, based on the dilution will happen. Our interest is to keep it's a subsidiary as of Secure Cloud now.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay, understood. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankit. Thanks for a good question. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Milind Trivedi, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. So first of all, congratulations for putting a lot of effort in.
Mr. Trivedi, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's a lot of disturbance from your audio.
I can see the tremendous improvement from FY20 and this financial year, there is no observation from auditor. So thanks for all the effort. Though I have one concern that why do we choose a declaration that at the last day of compliance date? Can we not do 1 week before, like kind of 22nd May or 23rd May? The last day declaration will not give right picture to the investor.
You are absolutely right. Actually, because of the COVID in Chennai, we have a lockdown. Even our auditor got COVID. Actually, that's where the problem happened. So in future, we will try to do earlier.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah. One more question I have is, so earlier when we were HK Miles, right? So we were mainly healthcare and life science businesses. Now we are expanding to other geographies, other verticals, right? So generally, when business expansion happens, the core business company keeps to themselves and they start the new subsidiary and then they put more effort in expanding the subsidiaries, right? But in our case, we have actually our core business we are giving to subsidiary, and that will be listed separately, and the expansion part we are keeping to ourselves, that is Secure Cloud Technologies. So what was the business reason behind this, sir?
No, see, this is because by combining all in the parent company, we are not getting a proper attention for the healthcare market, healthcare life sciences market. You can mute yourself.
Go on mute, Mr. Girish.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So when we keep within the company, the both healthcare and life sciences, the attention is not going. So what we felt is, because we are still keeping our core cloud technology, data technology in the Secure Cloud, right? Because Secure Cloud is a born-in cloud company that even if you really look at it, the Amazon partnership, right, AWS partnership or a Google partnership is under the Secure Cloud umbrella, which is shared by the subsidiary Healthcare Triangle. So we keep that. We only spin off the healthcare and life sciences domain experience, which includes, we acquired a cornerstone business 3 years back. All this are moved into the thing. So our goal is to grow different sectors, especially like a BFSI and other markets where we see a tremendous opportunity in the cloud. So that is the reason we are doing. So the Healthcare Triangle is created for addressing the healthcare demand. So that is the thing what we have triggered. And Secure Cloud will address all other sectors. And as we now even spinning off our blockage and other things, like blockchain. So we will have a more value creating into the Secure Cloud. And like Ravi said and Tyaga said, we are also generating directly signing the project with Secure Cloud India also. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That is all question I had. Thanks for all answers.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pankaj Topadkar, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi. So my question is with respect to HTI. So how is the revenue, what is the top line for HTI right now, and what will be what you are expecting it to be in FY22 and 23? And what will be the bottom line also, and market valuation, what we are projecting after listing or like before listing for HTI?
So the current revenue is around $33 million for a Healthcare Triangle. Okay, and we anticipate to see, we are not able to give any forward guidance at this stage because it's under SEC filing right now. It is going on, right? So we are not able to give at this stage. But we will be giving forward guidance and everything. But we are anticipating a strong growth in healthcare. See, the healthcare life sciences industry is one of the very I would say the very accelerated growing industry, and a lot of heavy investment, and many companies are going public in the area healthcare similar to Healthcare Triangle, especially in mental health, digital health. All these are really in the very acceleration market. So currently the US stock market is in a very upbeat. So before, I think we would able to capture the wave together on creating a high value for Healthcare Triangle.
Okay, sir. So any valuation you're targeting for HTI, if it's disclosable,
No, it is not disclosable, and it is our investment banker will do the pricing. Because we need to first, the steps are very simple. I think similar to India also, I believe. You have to clear the SEC clearing. After that only the pricing can be done. Before that, you can't do a pricing.
Noted, sir. Noted. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Tyagarajan R, CFO from Secure Cloud Technologies Limited, for closing comments.
Thank you, participants. Thank you all for joining us today. It's been, as I said, a tremendous year for us, a big learning, right? The teams have all pulled up their socks despite all the pandemic and all the challenges. As a management team, we have done whatever. We stuck to our commitment at the beginning of the year, and we reiterate that we will keep focusing on some of the key attributes that we spoke about at the beginning of the call, and keep updating the investors and the market community on developments. Right? Wish you all good luck. Stay safe during the pandemic, and talk to you soon. Thank you, Anuj, and thank you for the call this afternoon.
Thank you. On behalf of Secure Cloud Technologies Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you all for joining. You may now disconnect your line.